Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are, what time you are watching this. My name is Winston, and this is another episode of ICAD Audits. Today we're looking at Agility CMS. So without further ado, guys, let's just jump right into it. But before we actually do, though, just want to give you guys a quick reminder in terms of the 5 criteria that we use to assess through these assessments and analysis of B2B tech startups. So the first one is whether or not they have clearly defined their and communicated their ICP, which means their ideal customer profile or ideal customer. Number two, do they understand their customers' pain points? Number three, in terms of the positioning and messaging, does it show differentiation from competitors out there with the same or similar solution? Number four, do they show and tell their value proposition? And number five, do they have a content strategy that aligns with all four I just mentioned, plus the company's business goals? So without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, so first thing I'm looking at here is the head of the headline, which says, finally, a headless CMS that gives you the best of both worlds. All right, well, this doesn't really tell me anything. First of all, it says a headless CMS. Well, first of all, I don't even know what a headless CMS is. I'm assuming this is some sort of industry jargon because I'm a marketer, plus I built websites on Wordpress and Wix, and I've never heard the term headless CMS before, so that's probably some industry jargon. And then it says, when it comes to choosing a content management system, you shouldn't have to compromise. With all the features of a headless CMS and the familiar authoring tools that marketers know and love, Agility will make everyone on your team happy. Let me read that again. When it comes to choosing a content management system, you shouldn't have to compromise. With all the features of a headless CMS and the familiar authoring tools that marketers know and love, Agility will make everyone on your team happy. Okay. Again, still doesn't, I mean, I know it's a content management system, but it's still using this term headless CMS. And I really have no idea what that is. And it's a challenge or a mistake I see a lot of B2B tech companies make, not just startups, but just in general, where they tend to use industry jargon and they try to make what they're saying or communicate sound, witty and smart. But I mean, simplicity is always best. Just keep it smart. Just speak in the most layman terms possible, because don't assume that the person who is a part of the industry that you're a part of is the one that's visiting your website. It could be someone who is just doing a bit of research on different vendors or different solutions out there that have no idea of the industry. They probably know what they want, the job that they're trying to get done, but they wouldn't necessarily understand what a headless CMS is. So because I, for one, don't even understand what a headless CMS is. Anyway, so they have learn more there. Let's see, and then they have an image of the platform. Well, sort of an animation of the platform here. Leading branch choose Agility CMS, and they have a few big names here. So, all right, that's definitely that's good. I can see with that a bit of social proof. Nothing wrong with that. Then they have a video. Okay, let's talk Agility CSS, secret weapon for developers and marketing teams. Okay, so they're telling me it's for developers and marketing teams, which is good. So right away they've communicated their ICP. I just wish they would have probably done so at the top of the page, the heading of the page. Create powerful omnichannel experiences. All right, so I'm going to pause this video. I was hoping that this video would give me kind of like an overview of the product. I mean, I don't want to see a generic commercial for the platform. I want to see how the platform actually works, right? Show me the behind the scenes, the backing of how it actually works and how it's actually different than other CMS platforms that are out there. All right, so it says the best of both worlds. Custom content fields, multiple front end integrations, fast, flexible development, webhooks, cloud native, Jamstack. Again, bunch of terms I have absolutely no idea about. SEO fields, page and site map management, familiar authoring tools, content previewing, any programming language. The familiar authoring tools you know and love. Do more without a developer. All right. So this line here is brilliant. Do more without a developer, because more than likely it's not a developer who would necessarily be using a tool like this, because most, if not every developer uses WordPress because of the how robust it is and the technical aspect that it's very flexible in terms of the coding capabilities. So most developers tend to use WordPress. But this, in terms of do more without a developer, this is something I believe should have been up here. Like if they replaced all of this with this line, do more without a developer, that would immediately hook me, right? Because right away I would know that, all right, this is a platform where I don't need to be a developer to be able to use it and be able to build out a CMS for or a website for myself. I don't need any coding tools, which I mean, for me, was one of the reasons why I shifted from WordPress to Wix. I mean, even though Wix isn't really a lot impressive, to be honest, but it's for the simple reason that with Wix, I don't need a lot of coding or developer background. You know, it's just simple drag and drop, and it works for me in terms of building out simple web designs. So they had actually put this positioning or this messaging at the top and communicated that. I think it would have hooked a lot more people who aren't necessarily developers, whether they are marketers, they're solopreneurs that's looking to build their own website. And I think this would have been better at the top. With our headless CMS built-in page management features, you can create, manage, and organize pages using reusable blocks and sitemaps, all without having to rely on a developer. All of this should have been at the top. Like, forget all this stuff about a headless CMS that gives you the best of both worlds. I don't know what that means. What's the best of both worlds? What two worlds are we talking about? And this doesn't really tell me anything either. But if they actually move all of this to the top, where this is the headline, this is probably the sub header for it, or the extension, you know, you have the H1, H2 header. I think this would have worked way better to help me understand what the platform is and what it's about than what they currently have at the top. Workflows that actually work. Agility's built-in workflows and content scheduling make managing your content production a snap, and with the ability to share content previews with external users, everyone can see what your content is going to look like before you hit publish. Structure your content for success. With Agility CMS unique content first approach, you can easily define your content structure and relationships, giving you the flexibility to reorder, reuse, and repurpose content efficiently across all of your digital channels. Okay. They have a bit of testimonial there. Then they have a book, a demo. The freedom to build what you want, how you want. We speak your language. Don't be limited by a specific programming language or framework with all right, so it's saying a lot without really saying anything, because I mean, here's the thing, and this is what I'm trying to get at with this analysis. you have a company that provides a CMS platform, right? But the problem is that there are other more popular CMS platforms out there. I mean, I mentioned two. There's WordPress, there's Wix. You have Squarespace. You have a bunch of others that are coming up right now. You have HubSpot that positions themselves as a CRM tool, but yet they have a built-in integrated CMS aspect to their CRM tool, right? So if you're going to come to the market with a CMS platform, you have to is one or two things. Your CMS has to be able to do something that none of the others can't, or if the features are similar, then you have to identify a specific niche with a specific problem that you can really position yourself in that niche and take market share of that niche, right? And I think that's what Wix did when they first came out, because they knew that WordPress was the dominant, was a category leader. They were the dominant brand when it comes to CMS platforms. So what Wix did was say, hey, we're the CMS platform for people with no developer or coding skills, where all you need to do is just simply drag and drop. You don't need any coding. You don't need to do any sort of coding whatsoever. Once you know how to drag and drop and you have a vision of what what you want your website to look like, then that's it. That's all you need, right? Just drag and drop capabilities with your imagination. It's simple, it's easy, anyone can use it, even your grandmother. And because they position and niche themselves in that way, in terms of how they position themselves, they were able to capture market share from WordPress. I mean, WordPress, at least to my knowledge, still has dominant market share in the category, but Wix still has a good chunk, or is a good second to WordPress. So if you're coming out with a CMS platform, you have to be able to position yourself better to be able to stand out, because at the moment, nothing on the homepage really stands out to me in terms of the capabilities of the platform. And just by how their messaging or the copy on the website, it doesn't really entice me. It doesn't really tell me what the platform does exactly. It kind of gives me like a high level understanding to kind of bait me. But I mean, I'm the type of person, like, give me as much information as possible. I don't want to book a demo to be able to understand what the platform does and how it can benefit me and the value it can bring to my life, right? Give me all of that information upfront, and then use demos as a way to answer specific questions that I may have that the website may not be able to provide. Or if I want to discuss specific use cases for my specific business, then that's where I would need a demo call. That's where I would book a demo call to say, all right, this is exactly what I need to do. This is my job to be done. This is my use case. Can the platform facilitate that? And that's the purpose for a salesperson, not for them to give me the demo and try to sell me another features and what the platform can do. So anyway, just a quick note on that. So you have why agility. Why choose agility? You've got a lot of options when it comes to choosing a CMS. Do you pick one that has the fast and flexible features of again, they're using this term headless, like take this term, nobody outside of product developer will know what headless CMS means. Or one that features the familiar authoring tools that marketers know. All right, so that's basically repeating what they have on the home page. The benefits of a content-first approach. Unlike most content management systems, we take a true content-first approach to structure and delivering your digital content. That's because we know that focusing on content early and in the design process. Keep your digital properties fresh. All right, so let us deliver omni-channel experiences. All right, agility versus short. Again, saying a lot of things without saying anything whatsoever. Let me give you the features here. All right, let me see the one for content managers. Take control of your content. Today's marketers need to be able to quickly create, publish, and manage content across intuitive, familiar authoring experience. Importing content teams get up to speed quickly, extend and reuse content. Create your content structure. Populate content, publish your content. All right, so let's see what else they have on here. Ultimate performance scalability. Then you need to quick glance. Websites, new regions that they're expanding to. These regions include several countries. Need for security. Digital property creation. Separate content instances were created in Agility. This allows for each country. All right, so it's good that I have use cases. I think the thing that would probably save Agility is the fact that they have a few big names behind the work that are the the platform itself, right? So they can always leverage those big names. I'm still not here. It's for software developers, but is it for enterprise companies? Is it for mid market? Is it for small business? I don't think it's for small business based on the names that they have. The power of headless. Let's look on a few things that they have in terms of content. Extending Agility CMS with custom API app integration. How to build high converting landing pages with CMS, how to choose Jamstack. Let me click on this one. How to build high converting landing pages. This is something that, all right, so they have gated content, which is fine. But I would have still loved to have seen some more. Well, probably they have it posted on their social media pages. All right, so I'm getting this is more a tool for developers than for marketers or content managers. Yes, content managers could use it, but I'm getting more of a feel that it's for developers. And the reason why I said that is having worked in a B2B tech startups, working with software engineers, I kind of know some of the language that they speak at times, and so I'm familiar with some of the jargon, and this isn't speaking to me as a marketer. Like I don't feel like this is a tool for a marketer. I'm getting more that this is a tool for a software developer. And if that's the case, then fine. I mean, nothing is wrong with that if it's a tool for a software developer, but it seems like it's trying to pull from two different personas, that being the software developer and the marketer. And it feels like they're trying to cater to both personas at the same time, which in turn I can see how this may be confusing to both, because it doesn't really sound like they're speaking to software developers. It doesn't really sound like they're speaking to marketers, but at the same time, it sounds like they're speaking to software developers, and it sounds like they're speaking to marketers. So I don't know. I think the best thing for them to do is just to brand themselves as the CMS platform for software developers, and just run with that, right? And just focus on what are the things, like the challenges that the typical software developer would have when it comes to integrating a CMS platform. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where they're coming from, and the fact that I'm having to spend this much time trying to figure it out, that to me is a problem in and of itself. Like I shouldn't be thinking this hard to figure out, one, what your platform does, two, who is it for, three, the value that it can add to my life. And that's where I'm really struggling with this. I mean, I get the feeling that it's a great platform. I don't think the platform itself is bad. I mean, even though I haven't seen anything whatsoever in terms of the functionalities, but I get the feeling that it's a good platform, especially the fact that you have such big names that are using it. So there is value in the product itself. The problem is that that value is not communicated on the website, and therein for me lies the problem. Because I mean, prior to this, I've never heard of Agility CMS. So someone who's just coming on this platform not knowing anything about them, especially if you're in a category where there are so many competitors that's so saturated, where you have several category leaders at different tier. Obviously, you have WordPress, who is a top category leader, and they even recognize that because I mentioned WordPress on the website, in terms of how they're different from WordPress. And then you have Wix, that's probably a second, and then you have probably Squarespace and a few others after that. So in a category like this, you have to be able to stand out right away. If I'm thinking CMS, I'm going to be thinking WordPress. I'm going to be thinking Wix. I'm going to be thinking Squarespace. I'm going to be thinking even HubSpot. Like if I'm someone, well, I'm someone who uses HubSpot a lot. So for me, it's easier to just use HubSpot because it's basically two separate tools where they have the CRM aspect and the CMS aspect in one. So I wouldn't necessarily have to switch between tools in order to get the same benefit of a CRM and a CMS platform in one. So it's very hard for Agility to be a part of that conversation, because it's not a name I would think about, because there's nothing that really stands out to me that says, yes, this is the platform for me. Yes, there's WordPress, yes, there's Wix, there's HubSpot, but this is the one that speaks to me and my needs. And that's what I'm not getting here from them. Let me just do a quick overview of their LinkedIn page. Break through the limitations of your current CMS with faster CMS on the market, faster to build, manage, and deploy. Agility CMS is a headless CMS allowing you to choose any programming language. While, all right, see, the mere fact that they said Agility is a headless CMS allowing you to choose any programming language just solidifies my point earlier of just focus on software developers, and let your tool be the tool for software developers. Let your tool be the CMS platform for software developers. All right, so let's look on some of their posts. All right, so they're talking about the product, talking about the company, talking about the company again, talking about the company again, talking about the company again. All right, I think their social media platform focuses too heavily on the company and not enough on the audience or the customer. Um, and I think a lot of the content that they have on the website, whether it's their webinars, whether it's their blog posts, I think a lot of that could be repurposed for social media, like not the long form content itself, but they could repurpose short form content, whether that's clips from their webinars, or they could probably create like a carousel type post with the quick points from a specific blog post with a link that leads to the blog post itself. So provide more customer focused content for your social media pages rather than just promoting the company and features all the time. That's probably one thing I would definitely say with your social media page is concerned.
All right, so just to give you guys a quick recap of the 5 criteria that we're using to assess this. So for the first one, clearly defines and communicates ICP. I gave Agility a 3 for this. They did an okay job letting me know that the platform is for software developers as well as marketers, but I would have liked that to be a bit more clearly stated on the homepage of the website and front and center, so that I know that for sure. So give them a 3 for that. Understands customer pain points. That one I'm not sure that they do, or probably they do, but I didn't really see it being communicated on the website, especially as I mentioned with a category that has so much competitors, so much competition. It's hard to really, well, I guess I could say in this case, I didn't feel that they really brought something new to the table in terms of understanding their customer pain points. And again, that goes back to the fact that I don't think they've really taken the time to settle on a specific ICP. Just focus on that one ICP and just explore more in depth the challenges that that specific ICP has. So I gave them a 2.5 for that, because even though they kind of gave a few use cases, I mean, not many, it came across as very generic. It didn't really seem like they really understood exactly what specific pain point that they're trying to solve for, that all their other competitors, category leaders, don't currently solve for. Positional messaging that shows differentiation. Again, I gave them a 2 for that one. Not because their positioning is bad necessarily. So it's not the positioning itself that's bad. What's bad is the fact that there's nothing about them that I've seen from the website copy that differentiates them from the other leaders in the field, as I mentioned, like with a field or category that's so saturated with some of the big names like the WordPress, the Wix, the HubSpot, the Squarespace. Like you have to bring something new that people have never heard of before from a CMS. And I didn't really get that. So I gave them a 2 for that. Shows and tell value proposition, gave them a 3. They have some, as I mentioned, they gave some generic use cases. They have a few case studies as well. So I think they did an okay job. Still definitely room for improvement where showing and telling that value proposition is concerned. And then finally, for the content strategy that aligns, I also gave them a 3. The blog post definitely seems like, and I think they're really going after developers based on what I saw from the blog post, some of the titles that I read, and one or two of them that I actually clicked on. So I get the fact that I get the sense that they're going after developers. So it sort of aligns around that, but again, there's still so much more that they could be doing in terms of bringing a more cohesive, a more integrated, a more omni-channel approach to their content strategy. And so far, I'm not really getting that. I'm just getting that they just have most of the content on the website, which, I mean, if people don't come to your website, it means that they'll never be exposed to the valuable content that you have. So that's my assessment on it. And the total for that I gave that works out to 13.5 over 25. And the overall score for that is 54. So Agility CMS got a 54. in overall average. And what that translates to, drum roll. Actually found out about this feature today. So I had to use it. But that works out to the little engine that can. Which means that they're pushing up the hill. They're kind of trying to push up the hill. It's an uphill battle for them, and it will continue to be an uphill battle for them, unless they address some of the things that I mentioned in terms of nailing that ICP, bringing awareness to more of the problems that that specific ICP has, and how that helps them differentiate from the category leaders in their market or their category. So some of the recommendations that I have for Agility CMS, first of all, I would say use the first stop of the website to quickly communicate who you are for and what your value prop is, and also your positioning along with that. Number two, choose one primary persona and focus positioning your solution for that persona. And as I said, it seems like they're leaning more to software developers than marketers, really. So I would just say just ditch, or well, not necessarily ditch, but allow marketers to be like your secondary persona, and just make software developers your primary persona, and focus more around that particular niche or our target customer audience. Highlight pain points based on that should be on use cases for your solution. So yeah, as I mentioned, dig deeper into that persona, which is a software developers, find out what pain points they have, and spend more time putting more use cases on your website. I mean, when it comes to product, it's not a service. When it comes to products, especially SaaS tools, it's good to have use cases that helps people. Like, don't rely on people to connect the dots. Don't expect them to think, well, your platform or your product does this. I need help with this. So I immediately make that connection. No, make the connection for them. Don't give them too much to think about, or else they're going to just come off your website and go to somewhere else. Integrate social media, specifically LinkedIn, more as a part of the content strategy, which I did mention. And finally, show me and not tell me about the product without me having to book a demo. Basically allow visitors to self-educate, which is a big thing I've realized with SaaS companies. For some reason, they just want to tease you with what the product is, but they're really trying to get you to book a demo. Which, I mean, for me, I'm much more likely to just, and this is specific to Agility CMS now, I'm much more likely to just go with a WordPress or a Wix, because I know what I'm getting from those two brands. I know what the pros are, I know what the cons are, and I know exactly what I'm getting, right? So if you want me to at least consider your product, Agility CMS, then show me what your product does that's probably different than what's already out there. If you don't do that, then I'm not going to waste my time booking a demo with your team. I'm just going to go with what's already familiar to me, which is how most customers think, right? They're just going to go with what's already familiar. So you have to make that entire process, in terms of that consideration phase, as easy and as frictionless as possible. So, even before asking people to book a demo, just show them the product, show them what it does, give them different use cases how it can be used. And I'm pretty sure you'll probably even see your demo numbers go up in terms of people who are booking meetings. All right, guys. So with that said, this has been another episode of ICAD Audits. Tune in again next week when I will go over another B2B tech startup and do a full breakdown of the 5 points or the 5 criteria that I mentioned. Until then, this is Winston. Take care and all the best.